Hey there, it's your co-host Sid.
And this is your co host, Sharfuz. We know that job search is a difficult process. It can be frustrating, it's hard to network, find the right fit for yourself, and it can be a very lonely journey.
Here at Careers Uncorked, we're trying to bridge that journey and have amazing conversations with people.
And we want to welcome you to our episode today.
Hey,
Hey,
Shafuz.
how's it going, Sid? Happy
It's going
Saturday.
well. I know it's Saturday and you're wearing blue to celebrate, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm celebrating the election. I I think it's obvious where I stand, but yeah, no, it's been quite a busy week. But we have another amazing session today
Yep.
uh, for our audience. And despite of like the crazy week we all had, I guess in general, and the whole country in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about this session. I think this one's pretty sort of good for our audience, especially because it's something that we can personally relate to as well. I really enjoyed the title of this session, Building to Learn, because that's something Shafuz and I spent a lot of time in college sort of doing as well. So I'm really excited to get into this. Shafuz, why don't you give us a quick rundown of what we know about Saqif so far and what we're expecting to learn?
Yeah, so Saqif was introduced to me by Ryan, who was one of our super audience. Really cool guy, being total supportive. So he introduced me to Saqif, and he was like, "Oh, you got to meet Saqif." And then when I talked to Saqif and I heard his story, I think he has this really incredible story of how he sort of built his college around learning and doing things, and just uh, building projects for his own learning experience. And I think a lot of people fail to do that, so I definitely want to deep dive into that and what others can follow in his path and learn from as well. So on that note, why don't we bring him to the stage? I'm pretty sure he's bored on the backstage by already.
Yeah. What's
Saqif.
going on, guys? I was just about to leave, so glad you brought me back.
I'm so glad you did, bro. We usually give it a minute, but then we get carried away. We get carried away talking about you. So
Of course, I understand.
For sure. All right, so we'll bring you to the big stage right there. And
Awesome.
so let's kick us off. Let's hear from you, Saqif. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just about what you're doing and what you did in college, and sort of what you're doing right now in terms of your career for our audience.
Sure. Yeah. So, just to keep it kind of short and sweet, in college, I studied UX design at Cornell University, and after that, I started working at Yelp as a full stack software engineer, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm
Wow.
happy to elaborate on any of that if you want to know more.
For sure. We're going to dive way deeper into that.
Oh,
I think that
okay.
sounds all really exciting. UX was actually one of the things that I was super interested in back in college.
Okay.
Shafuz knows this about me because I was majoring in human computer interaction.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, for sure. So, Shafuz, why don't you kick us off with some questions about college? I know you love asking about
yeah,
college.
so Saki, I just love to like get people back to their college days and make them miss college because I
Okay.
miss college a lot.
I
But
understand. Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I want to start off with asking you, like, when you look back at college, right? What are like probably the most significant experiences that stand out to you?
Okay.
Now that you look back after graduation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think all of college is kind of I feel like I did it right in a lot of senses where I have a lot that I feel like I couldn't just remove and still have the same college experience.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, with respect to my career, I think there's a few moments that stand out to me as like, oh, this is kind of like a defining moment. One of them was when one of my friends from back home actually transferred to Cornell, and
Hmm.
we were chatting, and he kind of got me re-inspired into wanting to kind of make products again or make projects again. And
Right.
so I think like just to give you a little more background on how I got into doing software or doing UX is like in high school I started well actually this is a long story. I'm not sure how much time we have for diving into this. But
Let's do it.
all right, yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, so basically, I got involved in computer science, kind of on a whim because I was in band and I hated it, and so I was like, ah, I gotta drop it. So I dropped it, and luckily, I was really fortunate that in my high school we had a computer science curriculum. We
Yeah.
had like an intro to computer science course. So I was just like, this sounds like interesting enough. So I took it, and that was in my sophomore year, and I was like, whoa, this is really really fun. And then I took like AP computer science, and then built a computer science club. And that kind of just like opened the doors to me of technology, and I was just kind of amazed at what you could do. And like in high school, I built this kind of it was really garbage. Well, like the software was garbage, but I built this app called Face Rater because in geometry class we learned about this concept called phi, which is basically like the golden ratio. And
Yeah.
essentially, the closer something is to phi, a certain ratio is to phi, the better it looks. And so I did some math, and you can basically figure out how attractive something looks to you by finding out the ratio and how close it is to phi. Just for example, face width, face height, and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of them. And so I built an app to do that because I was like, wait, this is a really cool idea. And I just knew a little bit of how to like code some stuff. And so I was just like YouTubing around for hours trying to figure out like how to build an app, and eventually built one. And what was really cool to me is, once again, garbage app, like didn't do like it was just very poorly constructed. I was in high school, at least looking back on it. But it did well for a time, and there was a point where I was getting like 100 to 200 downloads a day, and I was just like very like excited by it. Yeah, exactly. It's just like a really cool feeling, and I was like, this feeling this high, this is what I want. Like, it was just the idea that you could like kind of create something in your bedroom or whatever, and thousands of other people would have it in their hands is just really exciting and intoxicating.
Okay, so I have to say that this sounds oddly familiar to the Mark Zuckerberg story. The app
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, he was fortunate enough to. Oh yeah, Face Smash or whatever.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg isn't as smart as me, but he isn't as successful as me. But yeah, Facebook's all right. Yeah, no. So I eventually this fell off, and I tried working on it more, but it just eventually fell apart. But I realized kind of in that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I went to college kind of with that foresight. But college also was just like, I was very excited for college socially because it was like an opportunity for me to, spend time with people, get to know people. And when I first went to college, I didn't really think too much about, I want to like work on projects or anything like that. And that kind of escaped my mind for a long period of time. I worked on something freshman year, and it fell through. It fell short.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometime in sophomore year, this is what I was trying to get at. Sorry for the long-windedness. My friend transferred to Cornell, and basically he re-inspired me to like want to build stuff again, because we were just like talking through stuff, and we were like, oh, like why is this like this? Why don't we have robots that like fix our bed and make our make our breakfast for us? And we're just like, oh, like crap, there's just so many problems in the world that can be solved with technology, and it's just so exciting to just kind of think about what you can do to solve those problems. Because it's just like I was saying with like the app before, it's just really exciting. It's a really intoxicating thing. And so that was one of those like turning point moments for me, where my friend Simeon, great guy, and I were talking about that.
Wow, that is really cool. I think one of the things that's huge and that is not often very well said is, now going from an idea to actually trying to solve that problem is very different, because everyone faces problems, but you're actually sort of considering those problems, and you're like, oh, these problems can be fixed. Like we can find a way to get around this.
Right. Yeah, I think that mindset is really easy to let go of. It's really easy to like. I think there's a common, like, you explain away the reason things are the way they are with like, oh, that's just the way that the world works a lot of times. But if you have inconveniences, or if you have like, if you're a complainer, like just be a complainer, and like you can like the people who innovate are the ones who complain the most. So
exactly, be a Karen.
Yeah, exactly, be a Karen.
Okay, my roommate name is Karen, so she hates this Karen joke.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for that story. I love that like how passionate you were, and you were like proactive with your ideas. And that app sounds like such a good idea. I mean, like you did that when you were in high school. I really wish you had that so we could like use it on set and get the score for it.
You don't want to know.
That's so funny, man. But yeah, that's awesome. So I guess with that, and we would dive more into that learning aspects and your projects. But I'm curious about like when you were graduating, right? And when you were like going towards your career, what was your mindset? What do you know what you wanted to do, or like what was your approach towards recruitment right after college or during college?
Gotcha. So at the point that for a very long time, I think I wanted to like start work on a startup of my own. But there was some turning point like senior year where I was like, all right, it ain't happening anymore. I gotta get a job. I gotta pay some bills. So yeah, sometime I think it was like summer before senior year. I wasn't at an internship because me and a friend had decided we were going to work on a project full time, which I'm happy to talk about later. But yeah, at that moment, I was like, okay, I need to get a job, and it's kind of there's a lot of loose ends in this story, so I'm gonna fill in some of the blanks. So I wanted to get a software engineering job, but I wasn't taught in software engineering. I studied UX, and so the reason I studied UX is because I went into college knowing that I wanted to work with technology and do software. But basically, Cornell's split into several different schools, and some of them are land grant institutions and some of them are private institutions. And the land grant institutions basically are just public schools. And so those public schools mean that if you're in state, you get in-state tuition. And so computer science did not exist in the public side of Cornell. So I studied information science with a concentration in UX. And because it was this very new major that didn't have much structure around it, and basically it gave me the opportunity to take some classes in UX, which I found to be very interesting. And it also gave me enough flexibility in my schedule to take the computer science courses that I needed. And so that was my little hack to getting through college and paying significantly less tuition.
Wow, that's really cool.
And but yeah, it did leave some holes in my knowledge, and so I had to fill those gaps. And so basically, yeah, so senior year, I was like, okay, it's grind time. And I mean, everyone knows, I mean, this is just the tried and true method. And but it really works. But I just opened up Leak Code, bought the premium membership, and grinded through like 100-something problems. And by the time you're done with that, you're in a point where, first of all, like technical interviews are kind of fun actually, because you're like, okay, they're like puzzles and I know how to solve them a lot of times. And you just they don't feel as mysterious and daunting. They still are hard, but and then what happened was I applied through, I reached out to friends that I knew worked at places and was like, hey, yo, give me a referral. Like, give me a referral here, give me a referral here. And I mean, none of those worked out. But I mean, the thing is, it's like, you have to take advantage of, what opportunities you have. And that is one recommendation for college, for other college students. But yeah, I was fortunate enough that Yelp, they had a recruiter on campus for our career fair, and I talked to an interviewer, and their interview process was like incredibly fast. From the moment of like talking to a recruiter to getting my offer, it took less than a month. So they talked to me, then they sent me like a coding interview. They sent me a small coding challenge. After that, I had a phone call like a few days later, and they brought me for an on-site like a week later. So and that all went well because I'm there now. And so, and been happy working there since.
That's really awesome. I actually have one really important question, but before I jump into that, I just want us to know that we're in presence of Ryan. Thanks, Ryan, for tuning in.
The legend himself. It's an honor. Thank you, Ryan.
So
I like Ryan's face shot picture. That's like, I've never like that. I gotta ask you how many pictures he took to get that right picture. It's just like, yes.
Well, it's a 9 out of 10 on Face Trader.
9 out of 10.
Wow. The algorithm itself has spoken.
Exactly. Yeah, the algorithm is just me. That's what the app was. It just sent the photo to me and I rated it.
This is a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
You were the algorithm. You were the machine learning thing.
I'm a machine.
All right. Coming back to this question, so I know you spoke a little about how you got your degree in sort of the space which was not very, which wasn't technically computer science, right? And I know a lot of these job applications sort of require a technical degree. I know quite a few people in our community have faced challenges where they're trying to pivot once they graduate. So was that question ever raised during your application or interview process? Do you have these skills to like be able to do programming if you have a UX degree?
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, I think that was a legitimate concern of mine when I was doing the major, and was until the point where I got a job, because I definitely think that I've been turned away from interviews because, you know, they'll see the like recruiters do not look at resumes for very long, and so they will take a look at the major, and if it doesn't match, a lot of times they'll toss it away. That is a mistake on their part. But if that's the way it works, that is kind of the way it works. My personal opinion is that they shouldn't care too much about it, and a lot of times for myself they haven't, because it was close enough. And when they brought up my major, I would just use it as a way to distinguish myself from other candidates. So which is pretty easy to do when it's something that's closely technically related. But for example, if you're studying biology and computer science, or you're studying biology but you want to be a software engineer or something like that, it might be a little more challenging. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook, it says that he studied computer science at Harvard, but he was actually a philosophy major. So something I've recommended to friends who want to pivot is, if you're studying computer science on your own, but you didn't study it academically, you can put it on your resume that you studied computer science. You don't have to put down your major. And that will better communicate that you are qualified for the role than saying whatever major that will feel irrelevant to the recruiter. And then you can always just be transparent about that on the first interview once you get it.
Definitely. I think that's really valuable. And I think some of the things, I actually checked out your resume before hopping onto here. It's on your website, which actually is really good. Your website's pretty impressive.
Your website's
Thank you. It hasn't been updated in a while, so a lot of the links are broken. But
one of the things I think I really liked about it was like you have like this diverse skill set, but you're also showing your technical skills through your projects and your other experiences all the way back to like high school. Like you have this app that I'm very curious to jump into, which is like the resume everything. But yeah, stuff like that, I think that builds onto your portfolio, and it's like, okay, you do have these technical skills even if your major is something else.
Right, exactly. And I think that's super important to show. Like at the end of the day, like even if you have the major, you need to be able to impress the recruiter. And a lot of times, like you might go to a good university, like University of Rochester. But when you talk to a recruiter, everyone who's talking to that recruiter has gone to the University of Rochester and has a whatever GPA. Like what is the way you are going to make yourself be the candidate they remember? And so I think it's really important to build those skill sets and be able to show them off and brag about them on paper.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really like that you like what you mentioned about like just majoring something academically and also studying something. So maybe people don't have to. Or what if people start with like not putting what they major in, but like what they're studying?
That's what I recommend.
Yeah, it's like a new resume movement, right? Now, don't be like major. It could be like
I mean, I wouldn't think of it as a like a false statement for me to say on my resume, studied computer science, because I did study computer science at Cornell. It just wasn't my major, and so you absolutely should do that if you're trying to pivot. Otherwise, the people that are doing it are going to get the interview, and you're not.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, no, that's a very valuable point there. I guess one thing I also wanted to ask you was about currently working at Yelp. Like, what's it like working there, and what do you like enjoy the most about it?
Before you start on that, Saqif, I think this is a very personal question to Shafuz, because I was looking at our group chat right before this. He sent me his application when he was applying to Yelp.
Yeah, I'm the one who denied him. I was like, nah. No, they made a mistake. So I really like Yelp. I know it sounds like I can't say anything else, but I honestly do. And if I felt otherwise, I would be straightforward about it. I mean, their interview process was very quick, and I got an offer in October, and then I actually graduated in December, but I didn't want to start working, so I kind of just
Mhm.
hung out with my friends for the remaining semester that they were at Cornell, and then I joined Yelp in July, I think, 1st of July. So I've
Mhm.
been there for about a year and a half now, and so yeah, I have to say, like, as an employee, I really like it. I think I kind of lucked out in a lot of sense where my team is young and fun, and like a lot of them are a few years out of college, and they're really really bright, and I
Mhm.
work with really smart people day to day. But they're also people that I like hang out with outside of work and I socialize with,
Mhm.
and that I like really appreciate. It's one of the few things. It's one of the things that you kind of like can't really quantify, but it just makes me not want to leave.
Mhm.
Um, and also, the culture at Yelp is really great. I've heard lots of like stories about people working at companies where they are worked to the bone, and Yelp is absolutely not one of those places. I remember one of my first months I worked on a Saturday because I was like trying to get something done, and my
Yeah.
manager met with me like the following Monday, and he was like, "Listen, don't ever do that again. If there's a deadline you can't meet, we will push it back." And I was like,
Wow.
that's a change of pace from college.
Yeah.
So and I really appreciate that because yeah, it's just something that goes a long way in making me feel valued and making me enjoy the work I do, that it's not like and it makes it not a chore, because
Mhm.
that was something I was afraid of. Is I really like software development, or I liked software development a lot in college, and I was worried that once I got out of college and started doing it as a job, that it would feel like a job.
Yeah.
And it still does some days. Like, it's not like I want to wake up in the morning and work for 8 hours every single day,
Mhm.
or 5 days a week. But I very much enjoy the work I do. It's very interesting. And um, sorry, I know I'm talking about this a lot. Do you mind if I talk more about this?
Oh,
Oh, good.
please go
All right,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
This also in general with software engineering roles, the um, kind of the structure of software engineering companies is because there is lots of demand for good software engineers.
Mhm.
Um, the traditional managerial hierarchy kind of turns on its heads, whereas in other industries, a manager can kind of gets you to do what he wants you to do.
Mhm.
And you do it because you have a job and you're lucky to have a job. In
Yeah.
software engineering, the opposite is true. Like, the company is lucky to have software engineers, and
Mm.
so the role of the company is to make like my manager will meet with me, or I have a new manager now,
Yeah.
but my previous manager would meet with me and would say, like, "Hey, like, you worked on this project, did you like it? If you didn't like it, you don't have to do that again." Like,
Mm.
that sort of stuff. And it's just like it's nice. I get
Yeah.
to work on interesting stuff and work with really smart people, and you learn a lot working 40 hours a week on technical problems, and so I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Those are the pros. So
Mhm. That's really
um,
cool. Is there a particular piece of what Yelp does? Is there sort of a project that you worked on that you would be able to sort of highlight?
yeah, sure. I mean, so I work on. We've had some like structural changes, but
Mhm.
my old team name, which I think conveys it better, was local services growth.
Mhm.
So I worked in local services. Basically, Yelp, aside from restaurants, food, and nightlife, provides business pages um, for like plumbers,
Yeah.
electricians, like those
Yeah.
are services or
Yeah.
professionals. And so this is actually a big part of our revenue, and especially during COVID, a lot of our revenue shifted from coming from these businesses. We
Mhm.
make more money per lead on um, on services businesses, because when you hire a mover,
Yeah.
Mm.
it costs a lot more than when you might go to a restaurant, for example.
True.
Yeah.
And so what my team owns is messaging between users and businesses, essentially.
Mm.
And we have this feature called the request a quote, where you can request a quote from a business, and we kind of ask targeted questions, or they answer like a survey, and we
Yeah.
kind of help try to solve their problem and connect them and match them with the correct businesses.
Wow. That was really awesome. I actually learned about that services piece of Yelp just a month or two ago.
Oh, really?
Watching a YouTube
Yeah, so
video.
did
And
I, apparently. I
yeah.
learned about it a year ago. So
No, I was watching this YouTube video and someone's like, "Oh yeah, like go find a contractor on Yelp," and I'm like, "Whoa, Yelp?
Yeah.
Like, if I go for restaurant reviews?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a problem that as a company we kind of have to solve is the brand of Yelp is
Yeah.
its food, and
Mhm.
and at least for me and my peers, and so maybe homeowners think of it differently because we do have like traffic there, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that we're trying to tackle.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely sounds exciting, and you get to work on these things that has such high impact, especially
Mhm.
that product. I think I guess I'm curious, like, what's the other side of it? Like, what are some things
Sure.
that you're not excited about then?
All right, so let me name off all my coworkers that I hate. No, I'm kidding.
On
y-
LinkedIn.
yeah, I'll let you know who I don't like. No, yeah, no, there's definitely like some. I think it's just like the flip side of the coin with a lot
Yeah.
of the things that I've mentioned. So I really like having young coworkers. It's are like like people who I get along with really well. But
Mhm.
the flip side of it is my team is relatively inexperienced as software engineers, right? Like a lot of them have a few years out of college, and you could like that's nothing within the industry of software engineering. Like, I don't know anyone who's been at the company hasn't been around for like 20 years, but I mean, I don't work with people day to day that have been around in industry at least for 10, 20 years. That just doesn't
Yeah.
I don't interact, at least on my team. And those people exist in the company, but like we don't have a lot of senior engineers, and so in some sense we do lack some sort of mentorship, and that's something that I wish I had.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think of a lot of things have been kind of like made weird because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Like there's some things where I was like, I always wish we had free food. I just wish we had free food. But and there's lots of like interesting studies that show like people don't work harder. Like there's some like project or engineering management like research that shows like people don't work harder if you pay them more. They work harder if they have like certain things that make them feel more valued, and free food is like one of those things. So I'm definitely noticing that. I wish I had free food.
Yeah.
But we've also that's one of the cons, I would say, like one of the largest cons that I noticed with Yelp. And also we were in a poor position when COVID hit. We didn't know how our business would handle that, and we actually had to have layoffs and
Mhm.
furloughs, and that was scary because I really liked my job and didn't want to leave,
Yeah.
and I wasn't prepared for trying to find a new job.
Mhm.
And so waking up in the morning, hearing about that, I was like, oh no, like is this gonna happen again? And like losing that sense of security was scary. I'm much more confident now that
Yeah.
we made the right decision for our business at the time, and we're on track for not having to do that sort of thing again.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was one of my qualms. I was kind of scared, and having job security is obviously something that gives you
Sure.
peace of mind, and I just don't notice day to day.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing that's a pro that one other thing that's a pro that I wanted to mention is, um, which I kind of take for granted now, but when I first started working at Yelp, it was just really cool. Like, this goes back to kind of my motivation behind working on stuff is just you push out code, and like hundreds of thousands of people are interacting with it in like
Yeah.
seconds, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. It can be scary and so the flip side of this would be that I've pushed code that doesn't work, and it's broken the experience for tens of thousands of people, and that's
Yeah.
so scary. And I'm like,
Yeah.
those days I'm like, oh no, I want to die. But um yeah, like I enjoy that. That's fun. And then the flip side is also that's one of the cons, but I guess that exists anywhere.
True.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's super exciting to be able to sort of be able to work on something that's going out to this huge audience, right? That's
Yeah,
been using this
exactly.
product ever since. So that's pretty awesome.
Right,
All
right.
right. Shufuz, are we ready to jump into our highlights section?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We've our team in the back end. We can't see them right now, but they've been telling us like, you guys need to cut these sessions. We're about to have lunch and stuff. So like, we're trying to speed these up a little bit. But
Okay, sure, go
I
ahead.
want to spend some time on like this topic because this is a really important topic, and it's
Okay.
sort of the title of the session as well, building to learn. So really want to delve into like the projects you worked on and stuff like that.
Sure.
So you mentioned when you started college, you weren't really certain that you wanted to get a job. You were a little bit more focused towards entrepreneurship.
Right.
Did you have an idea while you were like getting into college, like, oh, this was the goal, this is what I wanted to do? Because a lot of people in our community sort of face that issue where they do not know the end goal, like 4 years down the line, 5 years down the line, what's the plan?
Sorry, with respect to end goal, do you mean like I don't know what you mean by end goal? Like what
End
I
goal.
wanted, what idea I wanted to pursue after I graduated,
Yeah,
or
like what career
okay.
you wanted.
Oh, what career I wanted? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think I was definitely fortunate that I knew what sort of career I wanted. I
Mhm.
really liked programming, and I was like, just something related to this. This is fun. This is exciting. I wanted to work on user-facing technology. That was just kind of my goal. And so, yeah, that if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And do you think the experiences you had in college really shaped you for what you were expecting out of it?
Yes, I think there's a big gap between doing software development at a company
Mhm.
and doing software development in um, either on a project or just like in the classroom.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big divide, and I think that's why like internships are like really really valuable
Mm.
because you really don't get the opportunity to experience what it's like working on a well, like really what a big company is a group project with 5,000 people, and
Yeah.
so you don't get to do that in the classroom, and it's hard for your like you're just not used to the processes that happen at
Yeah.
that scale, and so that's something that I think I anticipated, but I didn't even realize fully how different it would be until I started working like a job full time.
Mhm. Gotcha. And this next part, I want to sort of talk a little about what's one of your most significant projects? Because I know you worked on a couple like
Mhm.
throughout high school and then jumping into college. What was one of the biggest and your most favorite one? Was it the Face app, or do you have something?
No, the face trader was that was garbage tier. But that was just a fun, exciting thing that kind of got me inspired. I think my favorite one was one that I worked on with my friend Simeon when after he came. He started working on a project in an incubator at Cornell.
Mhm.
And this project was a website builder, and really cool application that just like helped people make their own portfolios.
Mm.
And when he was doing user testing, he discovered that a lot of people were like, I don't really this would be cool if instead of having a portfolio maker online, I could make a resume. And
Mm.
so I had gone through the similar motion where with myself where I was working on resumes for applying for internships,
Yeah.
and um, I'd never been taught how to make a resume. I've learned how to make an essay a thousand different ways, 100 times, but
Yeah.
I've never made a resume, and I needed one to get a job. And so I tried using some online tools to make resumes, and I had lots of qualms with all of them in different ways. And
Mhm.
so when Simeon reached out to me and he was like, "Oh, wait, I have an idea for a project. Want to work on this?" I was like, "Hell
Mm.
yeah, let's do it." And so basically what we built was, and it's called Spark Resume, and it's not live anymore, unfortunately. This is a very exciting project for us. We started my junior year.
Mm.
Um, and basically we were just trying to make a online resume maker that just takes away all of the work from like a student that's
Mm.
applying for jobs. And so what a user would do is they would get on, and it would just ask them for their information, and it would build a resume. It would resize it to a page. It would make it look really really nice, and it would
Mm.
give them the option to like change the design and stuff, but all of the work of it would be abstracted out.
Yeah.
And we added some features like, oh, if you sent it to a recruiter, it would like track it so that you could see if they viewed it or when they viewed it,
Wow.
and some other stuff like that. And we'd also host the resume on the site, so you could actually have like a link that you could share with people. Um, and it was a really fun project, and
Yeah.
we had hopes for it basically being for us to continue working on it. And I guess
Mhm.
the stopping point we reached was um, it hit like the summer before our senior year, and
Mm.
we were like, okay, we either have to commit to this full time, or we have to commit to finding a job. We can't kind of juggle both.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to work on the project, but my partner wanted to work, or Simeon wanted to work on finding a job, which I totally understand and respect.
Yeah.
And so that's the road we went to. But there was a lot of moments that we reevaluated that decision. We're like, oh, is this the right move? There was one time, like, our friend who worked at Workday messaged us, and he said, hey, like, someone just applied to our company, and I asked him where he built his resume, and it was on your website. And I was like, whoa, wait, hold on, like, people are using this. And and we were like, hold on a second, like, maybe we should be working on this. And there was another moment where are you guys familiar with the organization code.org?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the CTO of code.org reached out to us and was saying, hey, are you still working on this project? I'd be interested in, like, rebooting this project and working on it with you guys, or buying it from you. And so so we talked to him briefly about that. Then we were like, oh crap, like, people want to buy this. And then we talked to, like, other, like, entrepreneurs we know, and we were like, hey, like, should we sell this to this person or this organization, and how much is this worth? And then they were like, wait, this is really cool software, I'll buy it off of you. And then they were like, I'll pay you X amount or whatever. And we're like, wait, we could actually do this. And so we had some options there. We tried working on it again for a little bit, but then we had stopped for various reasons. Yeah, I'll keep it short and simple, but it was a fun project to work on, and it was exciting. It felt like it was on the cusp of getting somewhere. We had an MVP, but basically we just never officially launched, because we had users apparently. But yeah.
It has to be like the craziest story I've heard. That's freaking amazing. My nerdy side is just wanting to geek out with you right now and be like, wait, how does this
Yeah,
work?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds really cool.
That's the exciting part about working on these projects is just being able to freak out, like, oh my God, someone's using it. Like, that's the most rewarding thing. So
yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, Ryan enjoyed this too. He said the being able to view whether a recruiter reviewed your resume, that's incredible. I completely agree. I think I don't know how you did that. I'm not trying to steal a trade secret.
No, I mean, it's not a trade secret. It's but yeah.
But very quickly though, did you guys end up selling it or no? Right?
No, we didn't end up selling it. I kind of wish we did. We had once we got interest and stuff like that, we kind of got the advice that you guys did the hard work of building this MVP, you guys should just launch it. And so because of the reason we weren't able to sell it for more than like 6 figures, because we just didn't have any KPIs. We didn't have any actual performance on it. We didn't have users using it, and so we didn't have much to sell. We just had the software, but anyone can kind of build the software in a sense once you know what it is. So yeah, we had some plans to kind of reboot the project, and then we kind of our lives kind of got carried away with other stuff, so we just stopped. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool though. I mean, a successful exit's always awesome. You could have had your name on Crunchbase, like,
yeah. Yeah, it would have been cool. One of my regrets, but it's all right.
All right. So I think my next question, and this is sort of an overall experience from like your journey throughout. What does building to learn sort of mean to you? Like, what does that sentence speak?
Sure. Yeah. I think the reason why that phrase is kind of important, or I feel like it makes sense, is because I learned a lot in the academic setting of, being in the classroom, but at least for myself, and I'll speak to a lot of attributes about working on projects that make it conducive to this. But when you work on a project towards a goal, you can just learn so much, and you can also learn so much to accomplish so many goals, or to reach any sort of end goal. A lot of the things that I've done, when I first started, I didn't know how to do any of the steps in the process. So it's like making a website that makes resumes and stuff like that. When I was a junior, I was like, I'm not really sure how any of this is supposed to happen, but I kind of broke it down step by step. And I was saying, okay, like, first we just need to be able to maybe get users to log in, for example. And that's a solvable problem. And once you break down a problem like that and start tackling it on, you're able to basically just learn a bunch of different things to reach some sort of goal. And one of the benefits of like working towards a goal to learn something is just so much more exciting. Like I am not motivated. If someone's just like, hey, Saqif, like, I want you to like, do you want to learn how to play guitar? Like, I'm not, maybe I'll try to learn how to play guitar, but I'm not gonna be that motivated. If someone says, Saqif, like, you're gonna be performing with John Mayer in a year on stage, like, I'd be like, okay, like, time for me to learn. And also there's some excitement, and there's lots of like research that shows that when you're excited about learning something, or when you're happy learning, you just retain the information so much better. And so that's kind of what building to learn kind of means to me, because I've just worked on various projects, and it's taught me so much, and it's also been very exciting and fun to me. And when I'm having fun doing that, I just learn so much, and I get so much further. So
that is so awesome. I completely agree. I think really by doing something is where you learn the most. And I struggled with computer science throughout college, so
yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, so I didn't even major in it. I don't even know what computer science is. So
all right, so we're about to get to our final segment, which is the most fun segment, Chuck, if I can say.
Okay, all right.
On the rapid fire. So this is where we sort of learn about you as a person, what you enjoy doing, stuff like that. But a quick message for the audience: if anyone's tuning in from LinkedIn, feel free to ask any questions for Saqif. We'll be tracking them, and then ask them right after the rapid fire. And Saqif, we're trying out this new thing. We're trying to increase our YouTube subscribers. So can you give a quick message? Tell them to subscribe to our YouTube channel real quick.
Hit him up with a sub. Hit him up with a subscriber, man. Comment, rate, subscribe. These guys are great.
Thanks, Saqif. I really appreciate that. All right, on to the rapid fire. So I'll get us started with the first question, and then Shafuz will go on with the second. So the first one is, tell us something that not many people know about you.
Oh, whoa. on live, not well. All right, hold on. Let me sip and think about this. Something not many people know about me.
Yeah. Your deepest, darkest secret.
My deepest, darkest secret. I feel like okay. So you guys are doing YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if I could be a software engineer, or if I could be a YouTuber, 100% would rather be a YouTuber. You guys are killing it if you guys are doing YouTube. That's all right. That some people don't know about me.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah, thank you.
Have space for another co-host.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm Donna join.
That's pretty awesome, bro. Okay. What's your top favorite travel destination? Like you really enjoyed, or maybe the first place you'd like to go?
Top favorite travel destination. Okay. Geez, I think probably Japan. Probably because I'm a weeb and I like anime. I also like Japanese food and stuff like that. I want to see Mount Fuji. And like the Lantern Festival just seems like the most beautiful romantic thing in the world. So that I was abroad for a semester and I traveled a ton, and I just didn't make it into Asia. And so just like any Asian country, which is one of my regrets, because like the European countries are all just like different flavors of the US. It's like, okay, well, we just drive on different side of the street and like this, like speak a different language. I'm gonna get hate for that, but
you are.
no, they are all very distinct. But like the cultural differences between like Asia or South Asia or the Middle East versus the US is much different, and I want to experience some cultural shock. So there's that.
All right. What is the show that you're watching right now on Netflix or whatever your streaming provider is?
What is the show I'm watching right now?
Oh, even an anime.
Yeah, let's see. I started watching JoJo's. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't know if you heard it, but yeah, that's something I'm watching right now.
That's pretty cool. Where is it on? Is it on Netflix?
Oh, this is something I just finished that I really enjoyed. Actually, is Queen's Gambit. It's on Netflix.
I don't
know if you guys have seen that, but I got into chess senior year. Because I don't know, one of my friends got into it, so me and all my friends got into chess, and we were watching Queen's Gambit the other day, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
That show was freaking awesome. Two of my
Yeah.
friends told me to watch it. I saw the trailer. I was like, this is so boring. They're going to play chess. And then I got into it, and I'm like 5 episodes in.
Dude, they make like chess. They make it hype. They make it hype AF.
Literally.
Yeah, I heard a lot of hype about it. I gotta check it out. I'll
Yeah,
put
you do.
Saqif, so next one. What superpower would you like to have, if any?
Oh,
If not, if any, what would be your superpower?
what would be my superpower? I feel like teleportation is just badass.
Mm.
Just being a teleport is sick. Like if I was here, you see me disappear, and then I'm behind Sharfuz, and Sharfuz's eyes widen. That's what I want to be able to do. That's what I want to be able to do.
That's so funny.
If you can really do that, we're gonna go viral.
Oh yeah, that would go viral. Yeah. Sorry,
I don't know
can't.
if you guys watch X-Men, but Nightcrawler was my favorite.
Oh yeah, exactly. Nightcrawler's he's just sick. He's just sick.
It's an awesome character.
All right, last question. This one's the most controversial one we have, Saqif.
Most controversial. All right.
All right, who is your favorite co-host, Sid or Sharfuz?
Well, I think I'm joining, so it'd be me. But I'm gonna be honest. It's I gotta support Sid's man bun here, so it's Sid. It's Sid. Sid beat you there. Sid also watched Queen's Gambit, and you didn't, so I don't know, man.
Yeah, Ryan, if you're still on, you get a vote too. I know you've supported get this session together, so if you want to leave your vote in the comments, feel free to do so, Ryan.
This is so sad. I mean, I think this is like a stretch. I've not gotten a single vote in the last whole month for some reason.
Oh really? Oh my god.
I invite. They vote for Sid. They just vote for Sid. It's just so sad.
That's so funny. All right,
We're all colluding behind your back, yeah.
Okay.
That's funny. All right, so we've got there's some people tuning in. So we've got Alvin Tan. Who's your favorite
Yelp intern? Yeah, Alvin was a Yelp intern under me, and he was my only intern, yet he's still not my favorite. Sorry, Alvin.
Damn, you're savage, dude. You're like roasting him on live. Like, people can see this around the world.
Dude, he was too scared to show his face on this, so.
Sorry, Alvin, you tried. Ryan voted Saqif.
Ryan did vote Saqif. Wow.
Yeah, no, that's fair, yeah.
That's funny.
All right, cool. So I think it's about curtains closing time. Saqif, any final thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, yeah, if you have anything that you want to ask me or I'm sure the other co-hosts, I'm happy to help out. So feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or whatever medium. But yeah, I mean, just like one kind of parting thing is like most of the things that I've worked on or done, I just never thought I could do. And not that I've done anything insane, but it's just being able to have the confidence to like approach a problem and break it down is something that I think everyone has the opportunity to do. And if you have access to the internet, then you have access to like learn basically anything. And so we kind of live in a time where you have a lot of power at your hands and in your disposal. And so I encourage everyone to kind of to pursue those goals or if there's something they want to work on or something you want to do. Just a small anecdote is someone was calling me the other day and he was asking me about, he said he had like some project that he wanted to work on. He's in college and he was saying, oh, should I like work on this? Or he was like, do you like this idea? Should I work on this? And I was saying, do I like this idea? I'm going to be honest. No, I'm not a fan of this. I don't think I would use it. I don't know if this has like market fit or whatever, but you're the expert on this. Should you do it? Absolutely. Because it's probably the most fun you've had in a while and you're probably going to learn a lot. And he agreed. He was like, yeah, this has been so exciting. Just like thinking about this and talking about this with my friends and kind of working on this. And I'm like, yeah, I just use that and point that in the right direction. And you can learn a lot. And soon you'll have an idea that's worthwhile. And yeah, so that's my advice.
That is awesome. Well,
that's really good words, man.
Yeah. I don't know if you plan to do a TED Talk soon, but you definitely should.
All right. I'll definitely, I'll bring you guys on for that too.
Thanks, Sam. If you have only one spot, bring me. I'm there.
All right, yeah, I have to make it up to Sharfuz, so I'll let you next time.
That's really funny. All right, well, I do have to highlight the most favorite part of the session for me has to be when Saqif was like, Mark Zuckerberg who?
Exactly.
That was absolutely, that was insane. That was so fun. Yeah, for everyone tuning in, go check out Saqif on LinkedIn. I've attached his LinkedIn URL down there. And stay tuned with Careers Uncorked. We'll be back next week with another stellar session. Shirfuz, any closing thoughts?
No, yeah, this has been amazing. Yeah, everyone, please follow us on LinkedIn. Connect with Saqif on LinkedIn as well. As you could see, he's been really fun to talk to. And Saqif, thank you so much for your time, man. This was really, really fun.
Yeah, no, I had a good time talking to you guys.
Yeah, we went 50 minutes. This was a really fun session.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise.
All right. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you later.
All right.
All right.
Catch you later.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. We want you to join our community.
You do?
Join us by hitting that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the awesome content we have in store for you.
Oh yeah, and one more thing. Make sure to smash that like button. No way, actually, destroy it. We're millennials. We love seeing likes. Catch you next time. Whoop-ow!